When I get bored with my daily routine of playing video games and snorting sawdust, I often partake in an alternate pastime: Japanese cartoons, otherwise known as anime. Anime was created in 1917 with the first. However, watching these foreign cartoons is far from simple. Finding an ideal method to watch anime, or any show for that matter, is becoming more and more difficult. There are a lot of ways you can watch anime, each with their own pros and cons. You could watch it on TV, stream it through Netflix, or watch it on the ancient device known as the Blu-Ray disc. Many people have embraced the all-digital method of watching their entertainment, but the physical media is still hanging on somehow. Of course, I still watch a lot of movies and TV through streaming, but over the last couple of years, I've developed a small collection of Blu-rays. My collection is erratic, to say the least. It's a mess of random anime movies and series, and also The Room. Usually when I tell people that I collect Blu-rays, they always ask two questions. When was the last time you showered, and why do you do this to yourself? I'm not going to answer the first one, but I will answer the second. Reason number one, I like having a physical representation of my tastes and interests. It's nice to know that I have a shelf full of my favorite TV shows and movies. Some of them even have artwork that's exclusive to the Blu-ray release. And, if you're lucky, you can even get the stars to sign your copy, forever cementing yourself as the top dog of the Cowboy Bebop subreddit. Reason number two, Blu-rays have personality. Sure, you can watch every episode of Modern Family Season 11 on Hulu, but you lose a lot of the charm that you'd be getting from a home release. Each home release has its own kind of vibe that fits the show's atmosphere, and can get you excited for the experience. No two Blu-rays are really alike, at least the good ones aren't. Don't get me wrong, streaming is overall the better option for watching just about anything, but it's all homogenous. You get what you really want, but nothing else on top of it. That's another reason why I like Blu-rays. You get a lot of extras. Most of the time, home releases come with bonus features, be they behind-the-scenes footage, promo material, or even just weird garbage. The main appeal of the Blu-ray, for me, will always be the extras, because you never really know what you're gonna get. And sometimes, you get something that's just baffling. We'll get to this one later. For now, though, I want to take some time to talk about a couple anime Blu-rays. Sometimes they're weird, sometimes they're cursed, but they're always fascinating. Hopefully. Starting off with what is probably my favorite anime of all time, Cowboy Bebop has a pretty great Blu-ray release. It's got this funky menu with short sound bites of the show's soundtrack, and the text constantly reminding you that Cowboy Bebop is a really weird sounding title for a TV series. The show itself looks amazing on Blu-ray. I mean, it looks great no matter what you watch it on, but 1080p works wonders on the colors and overall sharpness. Anyway, the real attraction here is the ton of extras included on these discs. There's a lot of really fun behind-the-scenes stuff. The audio commentaries are my personal favorite. It's the usual interviews, trailers, weird stuff, but the star here is Dinner Aboard the Bebop, an hour-long special of the English voice actors eating dinner. Okay. I haven't watched this yet, because for some reason I feel that there are more important things for me to do than watching 4 people eating for an hour. This is a pretty solid release overall though. You got a great anime and top-notch quality and a lot of little extras to check out afterward. My only complaint is that they didn't re-release the Lost Cowboy Bebop episode. There's no hyper-realistic blood or anything though. It's just a clip show that they threw together to air as a final episode after the show got cancelled halfway through its original run. It's not a big deal, and you can find the episode on YouTube, but it would have been nice to have the complete Cowboy Bebop package. Moving on to my second favorite anime of all time, Fooly Cooly has another great Blu-ray release. It has what you normally expect. There's plenty of extras, and the complete series is available in full HD. You'd think that would be perfect, but there's apparently some debate about how Fooly Cooly looks on this Blu-ray. You see, unlike Cowboy Bebop, which was made on film and could be easily converted to 1080p, Fooly Cooly was made digitally in 480p, which means all you can really do is just upscale it. A lot of people hate its new look, but I think it looks just fine. It's certainly better than Samurai Champloo's upscale. But I'm not exactly an expert on Blu-ray transfers. I mean, for all I know, it could actually look terrible. But since I'm a little more than a monkey trained to clap whenever I see my favorite product, I don't care. It looks good to me, and that's all that matters. The best feature of this Blu-ray has to be the menu. It's totally something unexpected. If you've ever heard of Fooly Cooly and how wacky and zany it is, you'd expect the menu to be more like... But this menu is surprisingly down-tempo. I think that this perfectly highlights how the series has a lot of crazy off-the-wall moments, but also has just as many down-to-earth scenes, which is really cool. You never see people talking about the bridge scene of the first episode, but it's certainly there, and the menu is a great reminder of Fooly Cooly's slow scenes while also being a good calm space in between each crazy episode.
And you don't seem to understand. A shame you seem to...
I don't have much to say about Serial Experiments Lain's Blu-ray. It's got the complete series and a few music videos, and that's about it. The extras are nothing special, but the menu is really interesting. It's styled like a late 90s computer OS. The menu is an open window, the categories are folders. It looks identical to an old Macintosh, which is basically what the characters use in universe. It fits perfectly with the Lain aesthetic of 90s internet culture, which is a great aesthetic, by the way, and is in a league all its own. The Blu-ray itself isn't much to write home about, but the menu is seriously awesome. Although it's far from my favorite anime, the melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya is certainly something. The Blu-ray is also something. Honestly, Haruhi Suzumiya's Blu-ray has to be the most confusing anime release I have ever seen. I'll explain. There's nothing really wrong with the actual show. Every episode is here and it looks fine. What's weird is that this release has the most amount of extras out of anything in my collection, and yet so little of it is actually what you'd expect out of an extras disc, if that makes sense.
Suzumiya Haruhi no Yutsu, Taniguchi ga iku shin fushigi hakken.
Now, when the normal person hears the term DVD extras, they usually expect some behind-the-scenes documentary or a statement from the show's creator. You don't get that here. You get hours upon hours of the main voice actress Aya Hirano filming a music video. And don't worry, it gets weirder. It's packed with Japanese commercials for the show, but they're mostly the same with minor adjustments. But thank God they all have their own behind-the-scenes footage. It gets weirder. There are actually 2 extra discs in this collection. 1 Blu-ray and 1 DVD. In fact, this is the only DVD in the entire package. I was not prepared for what I would find on this disc. The way this disc starts alone made me think that I somehow got a hold of a bootleg. The MIDI soundtrack and the still images are a stark contrast to the clean-looking menus on the other discs. In fact, I don't even know what this song is from. It's definitely not from the soundtrack of the show. The extras are all random too. You get anything from the standard openings and endings to a random minute-long clip of Lucky Star, obviously from a time before its massive popularity. I love how a clip from another TV show shoddily edited in Windows Movie Maker got into an official Funimation release. If you like watching Haruhi, then you have to see this, says a totally trustworthy Arial font on a white background. My favorite extra has to be the release party for the first American Haruhi DVD all the way back in 2007. This has gotta be the sickest party I've ever seen. They've got the Haruhi dance in the background, cosplayers signing stuff, and disgusting looking Pizza Hut pizza. It's nice to see what the average anime fan was like in 2007.
I feel like somehow my mother had me. She gave birth to me just for today. Like, you know, it's all come true. Mom, it means so much to me to be here right now. Thank you so much. I really couldn't have done it without you.
Also, the extra is titled Uncut Launch Event, just to let you know that you're getting the edgy, uncensored version that your grandma doesn't want you to see. Anyway, after poking around the menu for a while, I eventually found that this lemon could be clicked on. So I did, expecting to find a fun Easter egg. I didn't get that. This was about the point where I began to suspect that my purchase of this unassuming collection was inadvertently funding some sort of illicit operation, but fortunately that doesn't seem to be the case. This Easter egg is actually a reference to Bamboo Leaf Rhapsody, an episode where 2 characters sneak onto their school's field to leave behind a message for aliens. This video, which is over 20 minutes by the way, is a live action recreation of said episode. So that makes a bit more sense, but that doesn't change how terrifying the initial discovery of it was. In conclusion, the Haruhi Suzumiya collection is the closest thing we'll get to real life creepypasta, and I 100% recommend it. Okay, so I've got a lot of Gundam Blu-rays. The reason being that none of these series are available on streaming services. It's crazy to think about, but the only way you're able to watch one of the biggest anime franchises of all time is in a format that nobody really uses anymore. Well, at the very least, any Gundam release is bound to have a ton of cool bonus material. Or not. I don't understand Gundam Blu-rays, I really don't. Here we have the Mobile Suit Gundam movie, an anime classic that's nearly 4 decades old, and there is absolutely nothing here. No interviews, no behind the scenes, not even a single trailer. This is the standard for most of the series in my collection. There's nothing here except for creditless openings and endings. And I don't know if this is considered a hot take or anything, but I really don't care for creditless extras. I guess it's nice to have them, but I never felt a desire to check them out. Most openings and endings are made with credits in mind, so anything important was always out of the way of the text. Unless you're really curious to see what could possibly be behind Zeta Gundam's credits, it's space. It's not really worth it. Some of the newer releases are a bit better when it comes to extras. War in the Pocket and Thunderbolt both have a handful of promotional materials and trailers. I especially like War in the Pocket's Blu-ray trailers where they got the kid who voiced Ao to come back and say a couple lines. And the Sarcast Award for Best Scene Select of all time goes to Gundam Thunderbolt, because look at this. How am I supposed to know what part of the movie I'm at if I can't see pictures? There aren't even descriptions of the scenes, it just has numbers. At least it looks good. It looks very good, in fact. I have no complaints when it comes to the transfer. Every Gundam Blu-ray looks super clean and sharp, Stardust Memory especially. The extra detail really allows you to appreciate the smaller things. For example, Gundam Double Zeta's opening implies that Gundam protagonists are the next step in human evolution. Speaking of Gundam Double Zeta, there's something kinda off about this Blu-ray. According to this release, the first episode of the series is Prelude of Double Zeta, but it's actually just a recap of the previous series, Zeta Gundam. For some reason, this episode looks like it was recorded off of a VHS tape or something, even though the rest of the series is clean. But I'm not complaining. The whole episode is a late 80s fever dream, so the VHS look kinda enhances the atmosphere. Halfway through, they just sorta give up on the whole recap thing and decide to host a Mobile Suit silhouette quiz instead. Then at the end, they tell you to mail in your answers to win a free trip to Jupiter. Okay. Then I guess they realize that they still have 10 minutes left of the episode and they throw in a little anime music video, because why not? And to top it all off, Prelude of Double Zeta ends with a 5-minute preview of the very next episode. So yeah, this has to be the strangest Gundam extra I've ever seen, but at least it's something. Although it looks great, Gundam Blu-rays really have no business being as bare as they are. It's a shame, because Gundam is a franchise with tons of history and interesting behind-the-scenes content, and yet we don't get to see any of it here. At least the translation is faithful to the original. Very faithful. So that's the bulk of my Blu-ray collection. I've got more on my shelf, but they're not as interesting, and I've talked about enough for now. I want to turn it to you guys. Do you have any experiences with the medium of anime Blu-rays? Did you have that one friend who had a bunch of weird cartoon discs in his room? Was his name Ian? Let me know in the comments, I would really love to hear it. For now though, I have to bring this video to a close. If only I had a quick sentence that provides a sense of finality while also making a reference to one of the anime series I talked about. That would be just perfect.